Good morning everyone, welcome to my channel. So the prompt Christmas tree has been revealed. So as you know, if you've watched my last video, I was up at 2 a.m. pulling together my sample board or my mood board for the prompt, which is still sitting here beside me because it is still Thursday. I think I said it was Wednesday in the video, but it's actually Thursday. So the girls revealed the prompt. I then hopped up at 2 a.m. because Pepper started barking. So that was it. I was awake, picked up my phone, saw the prompt, and that was it. I was off on a tangent like no other. Okay, so in the video last, I laid down the background, which is just going to be visible stitched down. I then started talking about a piece of linen that I had picked up actually yesterday at the op shop, and it's like a placemat, or it might have even been a napkin. And I thought, what a beautiful red for my project. So I have chopped into it, and that little piece of red is now going to be the box underneath the Christmas tree. I had thought there'd be a stem, but I just ran out of room. So I've pinned in this little square. I actually used the Tim Holtz card as my guide, and I've turned it under. I haven't done needlepoint applique for a little while, so I thought, the girls are doing a bit of that in their blocks. I might as well do a little bit too. So I need to stitch around the edge, tiny little stitches, and then I started playing with some additional laces. So I'm going to have this cross on the box and probably some form of bow. So at the moment, this is the lace I have selected. Okay, so I might actually take that lace off for now. No, I do need to leave it on because I want the lace to tuck in behind. So it does need to stay. Do I make the cross a little off center? I don't mind it when things are a little off kilter. I think I will. Yeah. Yep, that's good. What else did I do? Oh, I started laying down the background laces as well. I wasn't going to. I was going to let the Christmas tree just do its thing, but I think it'll look more lush if I add the lace in to the piece as well. So I just started grabbing snippets. This is at like 3 a.m. Grabbing little snippets and just popping them down. So I'm pretty happy with those. It's just random bits of lace that was sitting on my desk. Now the other thing I did is I started working on the little embroideries. As I mentioned, this book is going to be part of my, hang on a moment. Sorry about that. This book is going to feature in my design. So I'm planning to embroider some of these little elements and the 10 little spots that I can do something, whether it be a cluster or some bling or an embroidery. These are my embroideries. So I went through and I picked my favorite 5 and I've traced them onto the paper. Now the template that I cut out of the cardboard, this little template, the piece that it came from was still sitting on my desk, and I actually used it and placed that down and drew the circle. Of course I could have just done that, but it was a really good way of have I still got it? I probably went to put it in the bin because, yeah, here it is. This. It was a really good way of framing my little image to see sort of how it looked. So I ended up using this, drawing a circle, and then picking one and tracing it out. So I selected the music, the church, Rudolph, Santa, and gifts. Now, I may not need all of them. It will depend on how out of control the bling gets, I think. So I'll just pop this book away because I don't need that now. And it's just simple embroidery here to get those pieces looking gorgeous. And I think I will just do them in red. Keep it really nice and poppy. So we'll come to that in a minute. I just want to grab my thread, which is just here. and start stitching down this lace, and that will get rid of a lot of these pins. So that's what I'm going to do next. So that's probably about all I can tell you. If you want to move on to another video, that's fine. I'm just going to chat away and stitch down these elements. I don't think there'll be too much else I'll talk about in the way of you might miss something and learn something. I don't know. I don't think so. I'm pretty tired actually. I think I went back to bed about 3-ish, just after 3. And finally laid down, but I did put my earbuds in and put on a video, because I find if I do that, at least I start to relax, and before I know it, I'm drifting off to sleep. And I can't remember who it was that I was watching. Is my phone in my pocket still? Yeah, I'll see who it was, because they were working on their wreath on their door. And I didn't get to the end of the video, but I certainly did enjoy what I saw. Let's see who it was. There's Toblerone ad. We don't want that. Carol's Recrafting Boutique. Hello. I was watching your video where you were putting the final touches on your wreath. I didn't get to the end of that video, mind you. I dozed off to sleep, so it was a lovely way to go to sleep. I have a theory that if I go to bed and put on a YouTube video and then go to sleep, often my husband will come in and turn the phone off or the iPad, because I'm, sound asleep. I've absorbed everything in that video even while I was asleep, and it's somewhere in my brain. I don't know it's there, but I reckon it's there, and it can be recalled at a later date. It didn't quite work for school when I was pre-exams and studying. Didn't seem to, these pins are going to be annoying. Didn't seem to help too much. Maybe if I put the pins the opposite direction and bury them in a little bit more, it might not snag as much. That's better. What do they call it? The word was in my head a second ago. Not osmosis, myos. No, I don't know. It'll come to me. It's too early. Well, it's not really. I think it's about 8 a.m. the morning after the morning. This is video number 2 for this particular prompt, but I think it's video number 23. So, yeah, I thought I'm just going to sit down. I don't know if I'll get much done today because I've had hardly any sleep. So I'm sure my words will fail me. But I thought, let's just keep it simple. Let's sit down, do some needlework, get started, and I guess start thinking about snowflakes. Now, snowflakes. I have this fantastic book. It is 101 snowflake crocheted patterns. I think I've mentioned it before in a previous video. So I've been dying to get my hands on some snowflakes from that book, and I just have not had the time to pick up crocheting hooks. As you imagine, my videos are sort of coming out daily, if not twice a day at the moment, because there's just so much rolling through at the moment in the way of projects. The Junk Journal July project I pre-filmed, and that's every day, and then we've got Roxy's Creations project in amongst it, and that's probably every 3 days, depending on how much time I get to sit and actually do some work. And I'm in the process of filming the Edith Holding series. I think I'm up to video, what am I up to? Let's have a little look. That's been fun. Really enjoyed that series. But at least I can pre-record it and then just let it roll, and then just interrupt those particular episodes with the Roxy update. So what did I upload yesterday? I seem to do about 2 or 3 videos a day, because once you start crafting, you can lose 3 hours just like that. So I just turn the camera on, go for it, turn it off, go for it. It is video 16. So I'm on the 3rd journal, gluing the spine together. So it's coming together beautifully. I finished the first 2, they're the bag journals. So you'll be watching this and you won't know what the hang I'm talking about, because you're probably only on episode 3. But trust me, they look great. I'm really happy with them. So I'm now working on the 3rd journal. So if you're interested in what the hang I'm talking about, tune into the Edith Holden series that I'm doing. You'll find it on my channel in a playlist. And you can just, craft with me as I work through the project. Now I've got them all twisted up. There hasn't been too much hand sewing in that project, but it's early days because the first 2 journals are just paper bag journals. So they sort of filled up pretty quick. So to put some embroidery in amongst it just wasn't feasible. And now I'm on the 3rd journal, which is using the cover from the book. So it's a decent size. I keep catching this lace. It's a decent size, and I've done a soft spine. My plan was to actually film some work on that this morning, but the spine is still drying. It's quite a few layers of lace and fabric. It's a decorative piece. So when it came to gluing it all onto the cover, it's just taken a while to dry, because I did it late last night, thinking it'd be dry for this morning and I could go straight into filming, the next stage, which would be stitching the signatures in. But it's not dry. And as I look out the window, it's about 8 o'clock here in Brisbane, 8 a.m. and the fog is so thick. It is as thick out there. I cannot see past the trees in my garden, which are probably about 25 metres. So no wonder my spine hasn't dried. So I will have to just cool my heels and be patient. Okay, so this little corner of lace is nearly secured with this little invisible stitches. That is not going anywhere. So I can remove those 2 pins. I love it when you take the pins out of your piece, like they're interfering with my vision. They're a necessary evil, but once they're gone and everything's holding its own, it's just so, it's like the reveal. I don't know if you feel that way. I do. Okay, a couple more stitches. I just want it to be nice and secure and not come off at all. Yeah, as I was saying, the snowflakes. Now, my best friend, Marianne, she also crochets. So I asked her a couple of weeks ago if she wouldn't mind grabbing that book of mine, 101 snowflakes, patterns, crocheting, and make some snowflakes for me. So she's had a few little baby rugs and things to make first, and she finally got to my crocheted snowflake project, I think last weekend, and she did send me a photo of some of them coming along, and they look great. So I can't wait to get my hands on them. I'm going to have to try and track that down so that I can start. Having said that, I do have plenty to do here. It's not like I need them at the moment. We can work on crocheted snowflakes next week once we get this one sorted. So steady, steady, steady. That's still flipping up a little bit there. Might annoy me. I'm going to leave it for now because I like how it can be touched. And I'm going to just start on this one over here. Just got a little bit of cotton left, so I might just whiz up this side piece here. Actually, I think I can find the photo of the snowflakes that she's created. Let me just look up the message. Oh, look, I can see Christmas trees popping up all over Facebook. Oh, wow. Oh, this is going to be great. I think there's going to be some beautiful work come out of this because a Christmas tree can be so much. We can really go to town on this particular prompt. Where is it? She took a photo of them sitting, there they are. Okay, just waiting for the photo to upload. She's took a photo of them sitting on her couch. Look at that. Aren't they just gorgeous? That book has been, I don't know how long I've had it, and I just haven't had time. My plan was to crochet a heap of them and then starch them and make them into decorations for my Christmas tree, which I will do with some of these. But a few of them I want to use in this project. So when you starch them, see how that's all curling there? They will hold their shape, and then you can pop a little ribbon on them and maybe a bell or a charm and then add them to your Christmas tree. That one there would have to be my favourite. Isn't it gorgeous? So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 she's made, and that was a week ago. So my guess is by the time I catch up with her, she would have done some more. So what I might do is I will get her to send me a photo of the book cover, and I will link, let me write this down because I'm making a statement that I need to make sure I actually do. Snowflake book. Okay, so I'll get Marianne to send me a photo of the cover. I will then put the book's description in my box below. So if you are starting with the snowflake or just doing the snowflake prompt and you were considering maybe crocheting or, you know, asking a friend to crochet for you if you don't crochet, you can at least track down this book and see what you think. So I'll add that to this description. I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to do with them as for this project. My first thought was, of course, a page in the Advent calendar. That's easy. I can easily do that. And I'd probably do some shadow stitching where I get some additional crocheting patterns. There's a heap on Etsy too. I found a beaut one last night that has five snowflakes. I think the pattern was about $7, and I think it comes with a little video to show you how to actually stitch them. They're pretty simple, like the little snippet video that she showed, plus many others. It's pretty much running stitch, straight stitch, lazy daisy stitch. You might do a few French knots, but those 3 stitches would pretty much get you there. Maybe stem stitch if you wanted to make a bit of a feature of the center of your snowflake. But yeah, so I think finding a pattern to do a stitching of a snowflake would be pretty easy. So that, I think, would be my background, and then coming over the top of it would be the snowflakes that Marianne is crocheting for me. Whether I have enough space to do that, I can see it in my mind, but my bunting, I only have that. So whether I can get, yeah, it probably will work. I'll probably get a few embroidered ones in behind, and then dropping down over it will be some of the crocheted ones. So that's sort of what I'm thinking for my piece. The other idea I had is, here we go, I'm going off on a tangent. I'm just leaning over to grab my enclosure that I've been working on, which I don't think I've shown you guys yet because I was doing that on the weekend. So I'm creating a snippet roll, a big one, to be my enclosure. And this is a blouse that is from my mum. It was a beautiful linen and it sort of fell out at me, and I thought I'm going to take that and use it. Now, my mum passed in March, so I sort of was like, got a fuzzy feeling and thought this is going to be part of this project. And what I've done is just been, as we've been working through any bits and pieces I've had, I've just stitched them down. So I've got a little piece of calico here that can have something on it. I don't know what that'll be. My idea was the word Christmas, but I haven't had a chance to even write it or see if it fits. Let me have a little play. Oh, it does fit. With a bit of adjustment of some of those letters, that would work. So Christmas does fit. There you go, that's pretty good. I'll probably iron that out and write it properly because I can see I've got a bit of a gap here but not much up there, so at least I know the word will fit. The other thing I'd created is this little window box. I sort of had this piece of lace doily from a napkin or a handkerchief kicking around, and I've been using it everywhere. Like, it appears all through this project, and this was sort of the last bit of it, so I stitched it down. And then I put this little piece in here, and I thought I'm just going to leave it free for something. And it's such a busy piece to have that little pop of space there, and to see the linen is, I think, quite effective. Maybe I do a snowflake up here. Oh, look, I'm getting sidetracked. Let's have a play, because I've got an idea. Now let's have a look at a snowflake. What can we do? I think they've got to be symmetrical for a start, so I probably need to be a little bit more precise than what I am. So this can just disappear with an iron. If I decide that I do like it, at least I can, get rid of it. I'm going to make him pretty big. So I'm going to draw 7 centimeters by 7 centimeters. So 3.5 would be the cross point. So I probably should mark look, get rid of the book underneath. Oh, now I'm heading off in another direction. I was going to stitch these little red characters after I did a bit of lace work. But what am I doing? I'm drawing a bloomin' snowflake now. Look, once it's out of my head, it's out. I'm sure you know what I'm going through. It's traumatic, isn't it, when these things happen? So I can't quite get that full width, but that doesn't matter because I can always shorten up my main line. I'm going to still do the 3.5 or the 7 centimeters because it won't matter if the snowflake drifts up into that lace. So I guess we need a cross section. So if 3.5 is our measurement, let's draw our 7 centimeter line again. Then 3.5. I like how my closure is incorporating a little bit of all of the prompts. See this Joy to the World? That was when I traced out the nativity. And for some reason it was written on the side of the pattern. So I just, just traced it as well, thinking it would be part of it. But it never came to be. I'm going to put a lazy daisy stitch on the end of, I think the cross ones need to be a little smaller, but we'll see. This is only rough anyway. I'm just mucking around. Now, what else can we do? We might give it a bit of a centre. So maybe 1 centimetre out all the way around. I should be measuring it, but I'm not. This is where it'll look odd if it's not perfectly, oh goodness. Now I'm freehanding a snowflake, which is symmetrical. You can see where this is going to go bad. Oh, it's not too bad. At the end of the day, it's my snowflake. He's a dodgy snowflake. Okay, so what else do we need? I need some inspiration. That's what I need. Let's just Google. Hello, Mr. Google. Snowflake. Whoops. Snowflake sketch. Let's have a little look. Oh, look at all the books you can buy. Oh, look, on Etsy there is, for $1.99, you can buy a pattern. What's that one there? That's another tutorial. Oh, there's so many. There's tatting, a book of snowflakes using tatting. Oh, gosh. Anyone out there can do tatting? Oh, boy. Imagine what you can do with that. I wonder if I could convince Marianne to do some tatting. I doubt it. None of those are real suitable for what I'm doing. I sort of need just a basic, here's a heap of them. Okay. I sort of need like a basic, I seem to have little stab stitches, little, that's easy. We can do that. It would have to be more accurate than what I'm doing, mind you, but so feather stitch, that could be used in the snowflake prompt. Then I drew there and I wasn't going to, but I suppose it doesn't matter. I feel like I need something a bit fancier. Maybe I could, see how that one's got a star in the middle? Maybe this stitch could come up and make more of a star shape. So that means I've got to come to the center of that snowflake. Oh, haven't I gone off on a tangent? I don't know if this looks any good, but an iron will soon make it disappear. Let's get some more of these little stitches in. I'm getting rough now. I'd probably want to do it a little bit more precise, but maybe I can pull that off once I've got the needle and thread in my, and I think, yeah, that's not bad. What else can I do in the center? Oh, then you can do little stitches at the end. See, what did I just spot there? See those little stitches there at the end? So we could do a couple little stitches there. Oh, these snowflakes are going to be fun to do. And I think the more stitches you add to your snowflake, the prettier it gets. It's not such a simple like that there as like a 2-year-old snowflake. So what else could we do? Maybe we can do a line through the center here, just to give it a little something extra, a little stitch in there. What else have we got? Oh, you could have them hanging. Look, you could do all French knots and beads as you dangle your snowflakes. Oh, they're so gorgeous. Look at that one. So I could do another line in here. I think that'll look better when it's a sharper angle. Oh, I'm happy with that. Look at the little diamond satin stitch. There you go. You could do satin stitch on the ends. And that's before you could start adding little crosses around as well to really jazzy it up. Maybe I won't do a bunting with the snowflake. No, I will, because I have crocheted ones coming. So I've got to do that. Just some little crosses. There we go. One snowflake. Bam. Love it. That's going to be really good, I think. What else is out there in the Google world? Oh, there's just thousands. Oh, look. Oh, there's an Etsy pattern, $13, and you get lots and lots of the Snowflake Fairy. Oh, there's a store name if I've ever seen it. What else does she do? Oh my goodness, look at this. Snowflake patterns. Are they for crocheting or what are they actually for? Let's have a look. Download, paper crafting, DIY, Christmas decorations. Yeah, so they're just images of snowflakes. She is just called the Snowflake Fairy. She's only had 251 sales, so she's only a small little store compared to some out there. So where is she from? Look, I got pins and things attached. Where is she based? Don't know if I'll see that about. No, it doesn't say. Oh, it could be anyone, couldn't it? Could be a big corporation that's hiding in behind it, or it could be a lovely lady selling snowflake patterns. So there you go. There is a site that has heaps and heaps of patterns. Christmas paper. So you can even download Christmas paper with snowflakes on it from her site. Oh, you can make them into snowflakes. Oh, look at that. Oh. So you get the pattern printed onto paper, cut it out, snip, snip, snowflake. How good is that? So there's some more shapes that you can add. Like, oh, you can do so much with these. Anyway, so it looks like I'm putting a snowflake up here, which I'm thinking I love. I might even bead it, and I think that's got huge potential. So let's just put that away for now. That's to be worked on at another time. And where was I? Where's my needle and thread? I'll just finish this corner. Where was I? Over here. And I will continue on. I might actually do a side of this gift box for anyone who doesn't know how to do the appliquing by turning the edge. It's really simple. It is slow, but it's effective because you get rid of your raw edges and you get a puffiness to your applique, which is lovely. You'll notice that when Sarah does her tree, because she's doing layers of fabric, there's 3 fabrics she's picked, and if she needle points that edge, she will what's my words, that the tree will look puffy, or each layer of it, so it will get quite a 3-dimensional feel about it compared to just laying it straight down and stitching it. And of course, if you were just stitching it and no fabric, it'd be very flat. So for a tree, it is not a bad idea. I think Rach is going to do a similar thing, if I recall. It was the wee hours of the morning when I was watching those girls. I don't even think I finished the whole video. I was flipping between the two of them, and then Pepper was kept barking at something. I don't know, we must have a possum near the house, because that's the second night that she's And she's not crazy barking, like she wouldn't be annoying the neighbours. It's just this little woof, 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 just quiet. She's alert. And when I looked out, Bandit was just sitting with his back to the house, just staring out into the dark as well. So he obviously knew something was there. So it's not like an incessive bark that you can get from a dog. But even so, it's a bit annoying for the neighbours. So we may need to try and address that. Don't know how. Maybe I need to bring the squeaky toy in. Because when she hears the squeaky toy, she associates that with the perimeter fencing that we've put in place to stop her escaping. And for some reason, this toy, she gets very wary of it when it squeaks. She was playing with it, no problems, and then it squeaked one day and she backed right away. And she was being quite a bully to Bandit. He would never get his nose onto that toy because she'd be there fast, quick. And it was her toy. You're not getting it. And then one day it happened to squeak and she dropped it. And of course, because we've put in a perimeter fencing, because she escaped on me, before she gets to the perimeter, like 2 meters out, she gets a warning sound come through her collar to let her know that she's getting close to the edge of her boundary. And if she goes another meter or so, this little beep goes to a beep, 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 beep. And then if she gets within, a nose of the boundary, so she's literally at it digging a hole, which is what she was doing, she'll get like a static electricity tingle to her neck from this collar. So she's only had the tingle the once, and I put it in my hand to train her first so that I took the tingle, and it worked a treat. She is so wary of the fence line. It's really curtailed her behaviour. And this squeak of this toy must remind her again of this sound that she hears. There's also these little flags as well. So even before she hears the sound, she can see those flags. So it's really, really good. She doesn't go probably within 10 meters of the boundary because those little flags are flopping in the breeze, and there's like probably 200 of them around the yard. And she just doesn't go anywhere near it. She knows those flags are connected to that fence perimeter program that she's very aware of. So long story short, I got the squeaky bit out of the dog toy. And whenever she goes to the side boundary and barks at other dogs or people walking dogs, really obnoxious behaviour, I was sneaking down the front of the house. She was at the side. I'd get to the corner. She couldn't see me because I'd just be back from the corner. And I'd squeak that toy once. Well, she would jump and she'd backpedal. She'd go straight back around to the back of the house where she would, woof a few times if to say, holy smokes, I've just been electrocuted, which she hasn't. She's just heard this audible sound that's told her to, back away. So it has stopped 80% of that barking. Sometimes she does forget. And if I'm not quick enough to race out the front, I've done it twice now. There was a courier driver across the road delivering, no, it wasn't, it was the gas bottle guy. He comes every fortnight to the house across the guy, and of course the bottles jingle a bit on the truck. So she's very aware of that and immediately will race around the side and give him a woofing. So I managed to sneak out too and give her the squeak. And yeah, she was back. She was like, oh, I'm not going to talk to the gas bottle man anymore, which would be good. Okay, so that's pretty good. Now, I do want to stitch down this this piece of linen for the gift, but I need some red thread. So I'm just hopping up. Bear with me. Should have thought that through a little more. Getting into my container, grabbing some red thread, which I now have. Okay. And let's get some of this. Got a little bit of white there I can use still. Now I might just remove move that lace out of the way because I'm just focused on getting the box, the gift box, or now. The best way is to find which way you want to work. Now I'm going to work from the right to the left. I presume that's because I'm right-handed that sort of feels natural. So I've cut the piece and I've just got a little turned in under section here. It's very bulky because that's the edge of the napkin. I was going to cut it off and make it all neat, but I thought, no, it's slow stitch. I'm going to have that as part of my piece. So it's just a case of coming up from behind. Oops. Start again. Coming up from behind. Using your needle just to tuck in the piece that's folded so that it is out of sight. And secure that end. It's quite bulky there, but that will work. And then it's, if I can show you, it's just little stitches catching the fabric below and then coming up the side of your fabric that you're stitching down. So back in, and where you come up, I go straight back down and then push the needle forward a little. Don't go far. You've got to keep your stitches tiny, tiny. And even that's probably not tiny enough. I can hear my grandmother in my ear. So probably 1/8 of an inch. So tiny. The closer together you can get them, the better your work will sit. So take your time. It sort of reminds me a little bit of hem stitch, when you're hemming up your bottom of your skirt. So you can see that my needle is, there's my thread. So my needle has entered the fabric below right where I come up through the red. Then I've shot the needle forward and just caught the edge of the red fabric. So now I'm going back down directly below where I came up through the red and shooting the needle forward, tiny amount, and grabbing that. The trick is you don't want to see your stitches. So you need to be sitting on top of each of your stitch. So if you, how do I explain this? If you've got I'm looking for a sharp edge, you want your stitch to sit just under the ruler, like just under it. And then you want your stitch that's catching the ruler, which is the red fabric, to be just on the edge. So those stitches are literally sitting on top of each other. Otherwise, you'll see these big dog-eared stitches and it just doesn't look as good. And whatever cotton you're using, make it match the colour of the fabric you're stitching down. Now I could have used cream, but it would have made my job a lot harder to disguise those stitches. You can use it as a feature by all means, and you can make your stitches a little bit bigger and a bit more obvious, and it can be quite effective as well. It can make it look very primitive, probably more like slow stitch would be. But if you want it to be nice and neat, use the colour thread that you're stitching down, or close enough. Or if it's a multicoloured piece and you just can't decide on a colour, use grey. A real soft dove grey just disappears in embroidery. It's sort of a go-to generic colour that blends with most things. So I'm just going to put a couple stitches in this corner before I pull out that pin. So I want to know that that is nice and secure. It's a beautiful way of appliquing. It gives such a gorgeous finish to your work. But it is a lot of work, especially if you're doing a quilt. My hat goes off to the girls when they did the pattern for the Homespun magazine. I can remember that too. I remember that pattern. I never did it, and I would never have remembered the name, I don't think, but I remember images, I remember pictures. And when Rachel was found by myself on YouTube, when I was doing journals a lot, I was watching her, years ago when she first kicked off. I think she was going probably 6 months before I found her. She at one point mentioned that she had a pattern that her and Sarah had done, and had been featured as in the Homespun magazine, and I think it was a block of the month, or I can't remember the details now, but it was definitely a project that you could stitch along, and it was just beautiful. I remember. And because I was also advertising in those magazines, because I had just published my embroidery book, so I was pretty familiar with the publication and what they were all doing, and I was using the magazine plus a couple others to run a little ad talking about my book and some patterns that I was doing, but they were like embroidery patterns, not soft applique like the girls, or turned edge applique. There's a few different names for it out there. So as you can see, it takes a little while to work around your piece, but well worth it. Okay. How are we going for time? Oh, time is flying. So I haven't exactly stitched any of my little caricatures here, but that's okay. There's always the next video. That's sort of part of the embellishing stage anyway, but I've got them traced. I'm going away this weekend to visit family. My mum's sister, she has her birthday this weekend, and she lives in Maryborough. So her daughter, a Brisbane girl, and her husband and the son are planning on driving up for the mum's birthday and camping overnight and then coming back on Sunday. And I was wanting to go, but I don't know, I just didn't feel like the epic task of everything. So I was chatting to the daughter, and she said to, jump in. Well, I sort of hinted that I could jump in. But they had a spare seat, and they have a spare seat because the daughter is Maddie. And Maddie, if you've watched the video, Maddie's Scrappy Bag, where I made a little envelope using scraps, fabric envelope, and I put her gift in it, which was a pendant. Maddie has gone to the UK to be a paramedic. So there is a spare seat in the car because the daughter is now in the UK, having a whale of a time. Let me tell you, the photos coming through to the family Facebook page that we've got, oh, she's gone with, I don't know, half a dozen, maybe more, other students from the university here in Brisbane. So it's like a placement program, and I think she's there for 2 years. So they've helped all the kids settle in and get accommodation, and I think I did hear a rumour that the accommodation was a bit dodgy, but between the parents and the uni, they've sorted all that out for the kids. So they're all settled in, and there's lots of photos of her with her truck ambulance in under the hospital that she's obviously allocated to. So she is having a while of time. There was one photo where she's walking up towards Windsor Castle. So I'm guessing she is doing a bit touristy stuff as well. Why wouldn't you? You're in the UK. You watch, there'll be all these photos where she slips across to Paris, and oh, goodness me. The joys of living on an island in the Pacific like Australia. The best we can achieve is Tassie or Fraser. And even that's a pretty epic journey because transportation isn't like what it is in Europe. But I'm not complaining. It's the best place to live, I think. So I'm just coming down this side. So slow, isn't it? Very boring. But I will put in the description box that snowflake crocheting book. I won't forget. Goodness me, this is tedious. Don't know how you did the whole quilt, girls. Hats off to you. I am stitching linen too, and I'm going through some hemp from Rachel. So we're talking pretty tough fabrics here. So they are putting up a bit of resistance to me as I'm trying to get my needle through. Oh, now see, I'm running out of thread, so I'm trying to scoot to the end without changing my thread. Come on. That's it. I just need a couple more stitches. Just a little stitch. Okay, so now it's like come out again. I might have to end it off. I'm being too miserly. I could change my needle to a smaller needle, that would help. Okay, just. All right, good. Let's get a little knot happening there. All right. Okay, so I do need to scoot along this bottom edge and secure that, but I won't bore you with that detail. But my little box underneath my Christmas tree is now stitched on. See the effect it gives? It's such a nice way of stitching, but tedious, very tedious. Okay, how are we going for time? Oh, we are flying along, aren't we? What will I do next? I mightn't start those. We'll save that for a rainy day. Where's the thread gone that was, you know what I wanted to do and I didn't do? I wanted to tuck these in behind the box. Oh, bugger. Do I unpick it? No. Nope. Doesn't matter. Oh, bugger. I was going to do it off center, but I think I will do it a little bit more centered, and I think I'll bring the cross on the box up a little bit. I might stitch that down next. Oh, what a shame. I had visions of it going around the edge of the box so that it looked like it was wrapped. Maybe I can give the illusion of that. If I pop some tiny little stitches in there all the way around and really cinch that in, I might be able to give the effect that it is. Yeah, I think I can. Okay. Let's try. Oops, I need a knot at the end of that. Let's see if we can tuck or stitch tuck that in. Admittedly, it'll be covered with all other stuff, but you know, it's not the point. I could unpick my box. That'd be disappointing. So looking forward to having a little weekend away to visit family. My dad's going to come across from the farm too for a drive, get him out and about to visit. So it should be lovely. Okay. Let's just get a multitude of little stitches in there to really pull in. I could probably even put a border stitch around it in that ditch stitch it to highlight it. Yeah, I might do that. I might put a bit of a ditch stitch. Ditch stitch is a bit of a quilting term where you've got two pieces of fabric coming together and you've got a seam. In the ditch of that seam, you quilt for those who are non-quilters. So maybe I might embellish the box a little more by doing a ditch stitch around the perimeter. I could probably even couch something in there. I wonder if I've got a red fibre. I don't have a lot of bright red stuff for Christmas. So that might help disguise the fact that this lace is, you know, not tucked. Keep unthreading this needle. Yeah, that's not too bad. It's actually not too bad. And I think it's because the background fabric is not only a similar colour, but it's lumpy and bumpy. So this lace is sort of looks like it's just bumps in the fabric behind. But I'll put in another line of stitches there. I've already gone across once to really make sure that it's blended in. Okay, so I think we can save it. There's a couple more stitches on this side and I'll be happy. Awesome. So I got a little bit done. There we go. That looks pretty good. Actually I won't end it off. I will come down the center of that lace and that'll secure it in position. Oh, now it's unthreaded. Anyway, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stitch right down the center there. I'll be able to tuck that under because I haven't secured the end, so that's one saving grace. And then this piece can go on. There we go. Excellent. Okay, everyone, I will leave you all in peace and let you get on with your day, and I will keep stitching. I will see you all in the next video. Bye for now.